everybody. Welcome to the November 25th meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville. I'm Ken Salvati, your club president. I'd like to first say happy birthday to Deborah Belitsky and to Kent Wayland. Those are Rotarians. I don't know if there's Kiwanis birthdays today, but if there are, happy birthday to you guys. And of course, Thanksgiving blessings to everybody. I hope you and your families have a great weekend. Providing our invocation today is Mary Ellen Harnett. She's co-chair of the International Service Committee. She was our Rotarian, co-Rotarian of the year last year, and she is a major donor.
A moment of reflection. It is fitting that today two of Louisville's strongest service organizations gather together. Kiwanis, with its motto of serving the children of the world, and Rotary with its motto of service above self. We recognize that we are privileged students in our community who need to respond to the challenges faced by our fellow citizens, who don't get enough to eat, who lack a safe place to live, and who need access to adequate health care. In gratitude for all that we have, may we use our talents, our time, and our resources to serve our community together.
Amen on that. That's pretty good. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Appreciate it. Now to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test for Rotary is Walter now, who just celebrated a birthday yesterday. He's co-chair of the Youth and Education Committee. He is vice chair of the Rotary Honors Scholars Committee. He was Rotarian of the Year as well back in 2017 and 2018. He's a Paul Harris Fellow +4. In Rotary parlance, that's a big donor. And one of the best darn presidents we ever had.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ken. And I did have a birthday yesterday. I don't know, 6, 7, I don't know what that means. Please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And my Vanderbilt Commodores are going to beat Tennessee and go to the college playoff.
All right. You should sit and ponder that. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our leadership. I'm grateful for their dedication and commitment to our club. If you're here, please stand. I know we have folks that are already out on vacation, but Barbara Sexton Smith, our president-elect.
What?
Just stand and Lori Flannery, our immediate past president. Jay Mallory, our secretary. And Craig Mooney, our treasurer. We have hopefully several board members in attendance, so please stand. Alyssa Gray, Louis Straub, Maggie Harlow, Gary Dryden, Kristen Boone, Jeff Underhill, Steve Jester, Ken Whalen, Kevin Fields, and Julie Schmidt. We appreciate it. Thank you. I'd also like to welcome Lyle Hanna. He's president-elect of the Rotary Club of Louisville. No, he's president-elect of the Rotary Club of Lexington. It just slipped out. 220 members strong. Lyle, welcome. We're looking forward to the game on Saturday. That will hopefully get your club bowl eligible and get our club maybe a better bowl. We also have Elizabeth Clay, I believe, Chair of the Louisville Seminary Board. Is she here? Yes, welcome. And Emily Rose, the Vice President for Advancement for Louisville Seminary. Emily Rose. Your parents liked you a lot. They gave you a great name.
Thank you, thank you.
If there are any other non-Rotarian or non-Kiwanians here, please stand. That means you're a guest. Welcome. Wow. Awesome. We're happy to have you here. If you want to learn more about Rotary, we have a table in the back after the meeting. Craig Sherman is supposed to be here. Oh, he'll be here. He'll be in the back. All right, only single seats remain for our Rotary Day at Actors Theater. That's next Saturday, December 6th, at the matinee showing of A Christmas Carol. That's, I believe, 2 o'clock. If you plan to attend and would like to meet up with fellow Rotarians prior to the show, Mackenzie White and Deline, just tell them. And I'm sure they'll have something fun. Our theme this week is gratitude, and we want to express our gratitude to the University Club staff for their ongoing work to provide a great experience for us each week. At your tables, you'll see an envelope for cash or check donations, or you can scan the QR code on the envelope to contribute online. The envelopes will be available at our December 11th meeting. So more details, links, other events, and opportunities on our website, rotary.org, and you can also follow us online on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Kiwanians, thank you for joining us for our annual Thanksgiving celebration. We always enjoy this joint meeting. Glad to host you today, and I'd like to welcome to the podium Richard Sandman, the president of the Kiwanis Club of Louisville.
Thank you, everyone. Well, this week of Thanksgiving, I certainly have a lot to be thankful for. And first and foremost, our dedicated Kiwanians. And we've got several here today, but I want to have officers, past governors, and directors stand. So first off, officers that are in attendance, Martha Schaeferman and Mark Garman. And then Mark is to keep on standing because he is a past governor of the Kentucky-Tennessee Kiwanis District. But we also in the back of the room have Don Ritter, who is also a past governor of the of our division. We also have Lieutenant Governor Shelley Garman, Lieutenant Governor of our district. And then directors, we have, Jenny Highland, Princess, former Princess President, and also Ralph Maringer. I see Ralph in the back of the room. We'll be hearing more from Ralph here in just a moment, as he's the chairman of our bell ringing organization. So, to continue the theme of Thanksgiving, I'm really thankful for Kiwanis really had a banner year this past year under the direction of leadership of Kevin Beckman. One of the things that we're very proud of is our contribution to the All Abilities Playground at our Savior Lutheran Church out on Shelbyville Road. If you head out past Oxmoor on the right, you see all this colorful playground equipment. And Kiwanis in particular, we sponsored a pavilion where the kids and adults can go when it gets too hot. They've got a nice place to go and rest in the shade and cool down. And that was really a joint effort between our club and Kiwanis International that made that happen. I'm also thankful for the Legion of Honor that we held back in September of this year, where we had 23 members in the Legion of Honor, which means 25 years or more of service to the Kiwanis Club of Louisville. And of special note, Jim Etkin celebrated 59 years as an Kiwanian. So, pretty awesome. And then lastly, as part of our banner year, when you look at all of our contributions, donations, and so forth, it totaled over $173,000 to support the kids in our community. And so with that, the one last thing I wanted to leave you with is, as we enter the bell ringing season, I am very much a believer in the power of prayer. And so what I would encourage you to do is when you get to your kettle, maybe bow your head and say a prayer that the contributions will flow for your shift. And again, I'm a believer in that, and I think that that will make a difference. So, thank you very much.
Appreciate you. Thank you. And congrats on all the great work this past year. That's awesome. Certainly needed. All right, George Breakmeyer and Ralph Behringer, come on up and kick off our Red Kettle Challenge, affectionately known as the Battle of the Bell.
Come on, George.
There he is. I think you'll go first. I'm wondering where you were.
Had all my jokes ready to go and everything.
You gonna arm wrestle?
Yeah.
How you do?
I thought I saw a guy with a bell downtown. I thought it was him. That's why he wasn't here. How are you? Well, Rotary, welcome to the 2025 bell ringing. That's right. We're ready to go. I'm feeling good about this year because we've gone out and recruited some numbers. I don't know if you know, but we're the 12th largest Rotary club.
Yeah.
So we're now moved up a spot that we recruited some young people with some good arms and some good ringing ability. So we're up for the challenge this year.
You guys, the comments that I'm going to make here, I really do appreciate this year, this get together every year. And Kiwanis started in 1915, and in 1916 was when this club was established. So we're excited about being here. We were actually working with the Salvation Army back in 1916, as soon as we got started. So that was a lot of fun. But, we started, they started ringing the bell in 1991. So this is the 134th year that the bell ringing, kettle bell ringing is going on for the Salvation Army. And, we're going to fill cupboards, we're going to fill refrigerators that don't have enough food. It's going to be a really excellent year and a real excellent purpose for us to be starting. So, I wanted to say this, that, I really appreciate the Rotary Club because, in so many ways, you all are really what provides us the impetus for getting out there and moving along the way we do. We just love competition, and you all are a worthy opponent. We're very appreciative of that. So I do have this ode that you may have heard. I'm not sure, but I'm going to share it with you. So let me get these letters are only a ½ inch tall, so got to put this on. Last year, we won again. So you may not remember, they were still counting at the end of December. Salvation Army needs help with the kettles. So we'll keep competing till the Christmas dust settles. You accuse us each year of creative bookkeeping, but the Army keeps track of our wins and your weeping. Rotary's bigger, but size doesn't matter. You gotta get bad, and we might just get better. So there you go. No, my thoughts go well beyond our friendly competition. In fact, again, like I say, take solace is that in reality, that you Rotarians truly invigorate, you encourage the Kiwanis every year. In spirit, we all ring together. And I just want to say, we're great duos. There's Batman and Robin, there's Butch and Sundance, there's Laurel and Hardy, there's ham and eggs, there's peas and carrots, and there's Kiwanians and Rotarians at Christmas time. So we're appreciative of that. And secretly, I just want you guys to know, us Kiwanians really do love you Rotarians. We really do. So all I can say is, let the bell ring and begin.
Thank you, Ralph, and thank you, George. We take on the challenge, and we certainly thank everybody that's participating and has participated in this long-standing tradition. So you can register Rotarians for a shift, or if you can't serve in person, you can scan the QR code on the screen or at the table and donate, because that's what it's all about. I know last year we were pretty close. We were.
How close were we? How close were we?
I think it was within a few $100. But here's the deal. We now know that it is the power of prayer that's your secret weapon. So if we have more people praying than you do,
Okay.
we may have unlocked the secret, because we have more people, more prayers. We got it. All right. It's an honor to introduce you today to somebody you should already know. He's a fellow Rotarian. We appreciate you being in our club. Andrew Pomerville, the 11th president of Louisville Seminary. He's had a successful record in both higher education and ecumenical parish ministry. He's ordained in the Presbyterian Church USA. He's a graduate of 3 Presbyterian schools, a BA in History and Religious Studies from Alma College, a master's in divinity at Princeton Theological Seminary, and a doctorate in ministry at Pittsburgh Theological Seminary, focusing on Reformed theology in a joint program with the University of Aberdeen. Andrew also holds a certificate in adaptive leadership from Michigan State University's College of Business, an executive certificate for religious fundraising from the Lake Institute on Faith and Giving at Indiana University, and a certificate in presidential leadership development from Credo. He was named one of the 10 church financial leadership coaches by the Presbyterian Foundation. His community service includes former chair of the board of NYAKA, a foundation in Uganda focusing on AIDS orphans, founding director of the Alma Center for College and Community Engagement, chair of the Lilly-funded Louisville Institute, and board member for the Center for Congregations. Dr. Pomerville joined the Bel Air, Michigan Rotary Club in 2007. He's also been a member of the East Lansing, Michigan Club and the Alma St. Louis, Michigan Club, and he joined our club back in March. Welcome.
Thank you, Ken. Good afternoon, folks.
Afternoon, sir.
Kiwanis, welcome. And no amount of prayer will win this competition. As a Presbyterian, it is foreordained and ordained who will win. So let the sinners come forward and figure out. No, it is a joyful thing to all be together. I love this competition and being all together. This is a joyful thing to have this opportunity. And thank you for inviting me to be our speaker today to talk about gratitude. I'm going to take the time, if y'all don't mind, to do this with storytelling. I am a preacher. I've been a professor. I'm currently a president, but I find narrative is absolutely the best way for any of us to learn, at least for me to teach. And in particular, this year, it's a little bit difficult for me to talk about Thanksgiving without referencing my own family, and especially the family I won't see. Normally, my family goes back to Michigan.
That's where all of our people are. My wife's parents, my parents. We generally go back to Michigan and we see all of them and we make the rounds and we do our visits. This year, we're sticking around here in Louisville. My son is a senior in high school and he said, Dad, I just don't want to travel this year. I'd like to stay behind and I want to hang out with my friends. We also have a sophomore in college who lives in Scotland. She goes to the University of St. Andrews. And she is obviously not coming home for the weekend because she hates her parents. And so it's just the three of us. And we told my parents and her parents we're not going to come back this time. We're going to stay home. But I miss my daughter and I miss my parents. So I'm going to tell a story about both of them since they're not in the room. And I hope that this will land as you think about your own experiences of gratitude, especially this time of year. We are awfully fortunate people. The fact that we're in this room right now, enjoying this meal, laughing together, talking about the opportunity to serve. We are in an incredible community. In the 2.5 years that I've lived here in Louisville, I have to say I have seen more generosity, hospitality, love, and grace than in any place I have lived. And that's not just because I'm sitting here in Louisville right now. My wife and I have fallen in love with this place. It has been a joy to be here, and there's something about the people who've invited us here. Thank you for making us feel welcome. But we have been in other places, and so I'm going to talk 3 different quick stories, if that's all right. I'm going to go back to when I was 18 years old, and I'll skip ahead to right now. So 18-year-old me. I'm about to go to college. My grandfather had died. He died right at the end of my senior year in high school. And he left behind a cottage. And in Michigan, we have a lot of these up north cottages. They're places on lakes, and they are not nice. But they're places we all go to, and this one had been in our family for a very long time. But my grandfather died, and no one really knew what sort of shape it was in. And my dad said, and I was the oldest, you and I are going to go up there, we're going to see what your grandfather left. We got there, and this place was a mess. Now, my dad is not exactly handy. He's an electrical engineer, or at least he was during his working career, and he can talk about how to do things, but actually doing the things is a whole nother experience. Technicians are outstanding. Engineers, they think an awful lot. And my dad and I walked into the house, and my grandfather had not done a good job of winterizing the cottage. So burst pipes, and we had mice everywhere. My dad's decision about the mice in particular was to find where they had gotten in, and we discovered they'd gotten into cabinets. And so my dad found the cabinets and said, son, what we're going to do is screw those cabinets shut. So we screwed the cabinets shut, and I said, that makes sense. Now, how are we going to deal with it? He said, oh no, son, we did just deal with it.
Oh,
The mice have won. We cede that territory. We are now 30 years later, and those cabinets are still sealed shut. We spent a week doing that. It was hard work. I was going to go to college in 3 weeks after this experience. I'm sweaty, I'm gross, we're going to drive home now, and at the very end of it, my dad grabs me, gives me a very, very big hug, and says, I am so sorry we didn't have more time. Now, I'm very uncomfortable as an 18-year-old, and I say, we had as much time as we had, Dad, we got as much done, we screwed all the cabinets shut, we did our best. And I'm trying to get him to just relax. He says, I just wish I was around more. Sorry I worked so much. I'm sorry you're leaving. Now, I was going to college an hour away. He cried very openly, and I was very uncomfortable and tried to get him to stop as quick as I could. He kept saying there's not enough time. We had a very awkward, much silence-filled car ride back home. Never talked about it again. Now, fast forward. I'm a dad, moved down here with my senior in high school daughter and my sophomore in high school son to Louisville. When we got here, it was hard. The kids were agreeable to come down to a new state, new schools. post-COVID, which is already a challenge for kids. But they were willing to uproot so that I could take on this new responsibility as a president at a school. But I was awfully busy the first year that I was here. My daughter gets into St. Andrews in Scotland, and full disclosure, we lived in Scotland for bits of the past 15 years. I did some of my doctorate at University of Aberdeen. I'm a bagpiper. My daughter's a Highland dancer. I have lots of kilts. This is my grandmother's tartan right now. We are very proud of our Scottish heritage, and when my daughter applied to mostly Scottish schools, it didn't surprise us. She wanted to go back home. When she gets into the Scottish school, though, that surprised us a little bit more. She said, well, Dad, if I go to school in Kentucky, I don't really know anybody, but if I go to school in Scotland, I've got relatives, I have people. So we reluctantly went along with this whole plan for her to go overseas for the next 4 years. My wife and I went with her to Scotland to drop her off last year for her freshman year. In that first week of trying to get her ready, we did an awful lot of shopping. We helped her set up her dorm room. And in St. Andrews, if you haven't been there, it's a nice mix of college town and ancient, and then the golf course. And her room overlooked the old course. True story. None of us are golfers. People kept coming into her room to take pictures of the course. It was beautiful, it was magical, and all I'm thinking is we're running out of time. Because Friday is going to be here soon, and we are going to leave our 18-year-old daughter 3,000 miles across the ocean, and we will have to fly away. So eventually, it gets to that moment that I am dreading that we're going to have to say goodbye to her. And my wonderful, stoic, amazing wife gives her a hug and said, if you need anything, you know you can call us. And I looked at her and can't say anything. I'm a blubbery mess. I hold her. I still can't say anything. She cries and then finally looks at my wife and says, tell him to stop. To go back, when she was born, and she is our oldest, I did something that probably wasn't good. As we were holding our brand new baby, who's like 20 minutes old, I looked at my wife and I said, Rachel, and her name is Denali. We lived in Alaska as well. She got a good Alaskan name. I said, Rachel, do you love Denali more than you love me? This is a 20-minute-old baby, and I'm looking at my wife who just gave birth and saying, do you love our daughter more than you love me? What a needy husband I am. And she says, no, I love you differently. How could you say that? We're a complete family. This is the most wonderful, miraculous moment. And I look at our daughter, and I look back at my wife and say, I love her more than I love you. That's been consistent for the last 20 years. Differently. Our little girl's got me wrapped around her finger. So I cried. She goes back into her room. We drive back to the hotel that's at the airport. I take a shower. It takes about 20 minutes, and I come out of the shower. My wife says, are you okay? I said, yeah, it's fine. I sat down in the shower and cried for the last 20 minutes. She said, it's going to be okay. We prepared her. She's a good kid. And she was, and we were. Now, this last August, just a few months ago, I said, I'm going to do better. I'm going to say goodbye, but this time I'm going to say the things. I'm going to make sure I remind her not just that we love her. She knows that. Not just that we'll miss her. She obviously knows that. But I want to tell her the important things. I want to tell her something meaningful. I want to remind her of something transcendent, something that she'll remember, something she'll write poetry about one day, something that's going to have some deeper meaning. And I prepared, because this time, My wife was going to fly over with her, and they were going to have a little adventure in Scotland while I was going to stay behind with my son. So I took them to the airport here in Louisville, and I got them over to drop off their bag, and everything was ready, and I was about to give what I thought was going to be an amazing speech. And instead, I did the same thing. I looked at her, and I saw the same little girl. And I looked to my wife to get strength, and I get nothing. She's crying this time. I hug my kid, I kiss her, I walk back to the parking lot. But this time I get a phone call from my daughter. She feels it. She's obviously connected to me. I know she understands. And she says, "Dad, I left my wallet at home. I don't know where my stuff is. Can you make it back home? Mom says you can get there in 10 minutes and still get back here. I can't get through TSA until you get back." And I don't even have time to yell at her at this point. I say, "Yes, I think I can make it." And I quickly hang up and I drive back to the seminary. I grab her wallet, and sure enough, it's sitting right there on the counter. And I grab it, and I think, okay, I'm going to get back, and I'm going to make it to TSA, and I'm going to give it to her, and then I'm going to say to her all the things that I wanted to say. Instead, she's waiting at the curb right there, and she sees me pull up, and she grabs it out of the window, and she says, "Thanks," and she leaves. Nothing. I call my dad. I love my father. He was a very young father. I was a very young father. I know he was making it up a lot, and so was I. I tell him this story about his irresponsible, forgetful granddaughter. He laughs. He says, "Oh, that must be hard to deal with." I said, yeah. And I bring up when I was 18. I said, "Do you remember being there at Grandpa's cabin?" He says, "Of course." I said, "I think I get it now." I don't know why we wait to tell people the things. As a pastor, I've served large churches and small churches, and there is something in common with both. There's a lot of funerals. I have officiated over a number of memorial services, and I have watched people, spouses, loved ones, friends, children, grandchildren, stand up and say all these amazing things about someone that they love, someone that they learned from, someone that they wish they could still talk to. And I always think, why didn't we just say that earlier? I think of advice that we get when we go to, say, toasts at an engagement party or wedding. The things we say at the moment because it's important, because we're finally at that ritual, at that time. The going away to college. Now is the time I'm supposed to tell my daughter how she's supposed to manage her debts, how to find good relationships, how to fold her clothes properly, how to be a good adult, how to be a good parent one day. But those moments aren't nearly as important as 11 o'clock on Tuesday, or just the normal, mundane. We do not need to wait for a moment to tell someone we are thankful for them. We do not need to wait for Thanksgiving to be gracious or to practice gratitude. We do not need to wait for Valentine's Day to give someone a bouquet of flowers or to tell them that you love them. You do not need to wait for your particular religious tradition to have a ceremony or a Sunday morning or whatever it might be for you to recognize the divine or to pray or to stand back and say, my goodness, there is something in the world. And yet we seem to do that. My dad talked about running out of time, and my goodness, do I feel that as well. My son is a senior. And right now, I am counting down with fear that he is about to leave. I'm worried that I wasted so much time. And yet I am wasting time worrying about the time that I wasted, as opposed to loving him and enjoying the time with him and just being with him. And talking to my father on the phone was all he wanted at that moment. It's all I really wanted. Fast forward, my wonderful daughter calls me and my wife every single day. Now, that's a little much. She doesn't talk very long, but she calls while she's walking to class. She calls while she's at home. She calls sometimes going to the pub. But she calls. And I think she knows it's for us. And there's something very powerful about hearing what she's doing and just hearing her. And I know that she won't always do that. But it has taught me that having that same connection to others is meaningful. And so since I've moved down here to Louisville, I've had my own little list. And I actually have in my phone, on my calendar, people that I remind myself to call. They're friends from college, friends from high school, cousins I haven't seen in a long time, my brother, my mother, my grandmother who's in her 90s. Remind myself to call and just say that I appreciate them, I love them, how are they doing? It has changed this last year for me. I'm not telling you how to do your gratitude, but I would encourage you, don't wait for a moment. Make now that moment. If you're saving that bottle of wine for the very special occasion to drink it, today is the special occasion. And so celebrate, friends. Be loving, be joyful, and be gracious to one another. Thank you for having me today.
We need more Q&A. If you have a question, please come on up and ask it, and I'll kick it off just by saying, what do you like best about Louisville?
What to say again?
What do you like best about Louisville?
Oh my gosh. So far, can I say people? Is that all right? Yeah, people have been great. So as a Michigander, and I try to temper my accent a little bit, my family's all from Canada, Scotland, and Michigan, so if I talk really fast, it really comes out. But I like that this has been a place where there's certain people who've been here for generations, but the north, south, east, west thing, this has been fun to come here and not be the only one who's from somewhere else, and it felt utterly well. It's been a blast, absolute blast, and my kids have liked it. So thanks. Yeah, you've all been amazing.
President Ken, Dr. Pomerville, thanks for being here. I'm Ashley Brower with Max Strategic Communications and Speaker Chair, so we appreciate you being here today for our Thanksgiving meal. Tell us a little bit about the seminary. What's the latest? Just give us an update.
Yeah, we are the Presbyterian seminary in this region, but we are an outstanding place of higher education. Only master's and doctoral students. We are 172 years old, so we're a startup here in the area. We are ecumenical. We educate folks from all sorts of traditions, mostly Christian traditions, but we occasionally have folks who come from other religious faiths as well. We have master's degrees in Masters of Arts in Religion, Masters of Divinity, but we also do Masters of Arts in Marriage and Family Therapy. That is our growing, and I would say, what I think we're most proud of these days. We are meeting the needs for mental health in our country. Our students come out licensed in a holistic approach. It's a pretty progressive institution, I'd say, carefully, the way, however you define that, but theologically. And so our students come out ready to offer counseling and offer therapy in a way that values the whole person. We're amazing. We have faculty that are world-class, that publish and do things that are truly transcendent and incredible. A beautiful space, too. If you haven't been over to where we are off of Alta Vista and Lexington Road, just a beautiful campus, really monastic-like, just behind Cherokee Park. We are, I think, a gift to this region, and we are not always unwrapped. People should come over and enjoy that gift. And if you haven't been, come see us. I will gladly give you a tour. I am sure our VP for advancement over there, she's even better at it than I am. She would love to come talk to you. But the seminary is doing amazing things. We're growing, and it's a very healthy place. Thanks for asking. You teed that up for me too. That is the best president question I have ever heard. Well done.
My name is Steve Imhoff. First of all, when you came here, did they show you where the seminary was located in the 50s and 60s?
Yes, the old building downtown. Yeah.
Down on Broadway.
Yeah, for sure.
Next, it says in your itinerary, your bio, I think I got it right. You graduated. You went to 3 different seminaries, something like that. And my father, 2 big brothers, and an uncle, Lutheran. They went to these Lutheran seminaries where they knew their stuff. But anyway, so it says you went to 3. Why'd they kick you out of the first 2?
I like that. And I should say, to try to blend in here too, starting at U of L in the MBA program, just so I can be local and feel like I'm connected to people. Yeah, thank you. No, it's amazing. But I love my Presbyterian schools.
Hi, Walt Kuno.
Hey, Walt.
Thank you for coming today. A few years ago, and who was your predecessor?
Dr. Alton Pollard.
Yes, Dr. Pollard and Chris
Elwood, probably.
Elwood,
Yes.
So we had breakfast, and so they wanted to. I have 3 degrees from Louisville Seminary.
I love that.
And they said, well, what do you have to think about? And I said, well, I blame Louisville Seminary, and they just felt like this for every good thing that's happened in my life. So thank you for that. And can you tell a story about a student that's just been transformative, or a faculty member?
Oh yeah. So let's do both. I'll try to do quick here. But, I have a student right now who came from Berea. She's our sophomore, Sabrina. She is one of our co-presidents of the student body. She is Baptist, is an immigrant to our country, ended up going to Berea. Berea does a nice job of sending us a lot of students. They do well for us. This is not necessarily going to be a theological thing, but it is an expression of her faith. So she came into the school and she saw that we, as a family, didn't really have people around too. She started showing up to my house to walk our dogs. Not because we needed dog walkers, but she said, people are really nice to you and they're nice to your kids, but your poor dogs don't get an awful lot of attention. Can I come over and walk your dogs? Now that seems small, but she started doing that as her own. And then when I asked her, I said, well, Sabrina, that's very kind of you, but you don't have to walk our dogs. Our dogs are okay. And she said, no, I just thought it would be an easier way to get to know you. And I'm trying to practice how do you get to know people in a natural way? And your dogs seem important to you. And I thought that would be a good way to get to know you. I said, you're going to be a great minister, Sabrina. That was generous and kind and very sweet. And then watching her preach and see her use that same type of a tactic, if I could call it that, was brilliant. It was so sincere. And then Sue Garrett, she's about to retire from New Testament professor. Dr. Garrett's been there for decades. She is someone who is a dean for our seminary, has published incredible works, and also shows up to student activities, goes and sees what they are out in the community. But for me personally, I'll say, went above and beyond. Her daughter lives about 15 minutes from my daughter in Scotland. And for a faculty member, she went out of her way, called her daughter, who showed up at my daughter's dorm and took her out to dinner, and called me up and told me about it afterwards. She didn't do it ahead of time. And I said, I only hear about adversarial relationships to administration and faculty. That was brilliant and beautiful. And seeing that type of relationship in a community, that's exciting. And all the faculty are like that. Thank you.
Hello, Delene Taylor, Executive Director of the club. Thank you for being here. I noticed you've been in several other Rotary clubs. I'm wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about your Rotary experience.
Yeah, so I also was in Rotary when you missed a meeting, you had to go somewhere else. I was telling that at the table, and I served in Scotland, a church over there for a little while, and that Scottish group met in a pub, and they were the tightest club I've ever seen, but they would call each other out every time someone missed, and they would shame them for missing in the most loving way. So they would give it to me. They'd be like, "Oh, Parson, you have no choice. You should have been there." I'd be like, "What? I had a funeral." "Ah, funeral!" And then they'd all take a swig from the beer. They said, "There's no excuse for that, Parson." And so then they started like sending me little notes, and they'd say, "We're ashamed of you. Love Rotary." Which I thought was the most Scottish thing I could find. So that actually encouraged me. I said, okay, I'll go start visiting other Scottish clubs, or other Rotary clubs. That was something I really enjoyed, that my other clubs in the States didn't really push as hard. So I've been to Rotary clubs in Singapore, Germany, Uganda, Scotland, England, France, Canada. I think I've got something like 40 states now.
Wow.
And I'm a terrible Rotarian, as most of you in this club know. I travel too much, and for the seminary, I try to get here when I can. But visiting other clubs is my absolute favorite thing, and I got that from the Scottish Club. And I encourage everyone, I don't know if Kiwanis has the same similar thing, but visiting clubs and being welcomed as a guest is a joyful thing.
Rick Schaeferman from Kiwanis Club, past president. Have you been here long enough to choose red or blue?
Oh yeah, for job security, red. Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, Lyle, and my friends from Lexington who came up. It's a beautiful place, absolutely. But yeah, quick one. I know, am I over too? I'll be quick. So when I served in East Lansing, Michigan, I interviewed for this position, and it was great. Everything went so well. East Lansing, of course, Michigan State University, but my father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all went to the University of Michigan. It's a pretty good school. So I don't really know Michigan State University or care about it that much, but the school and the church were right on top of one another. At the end of what I think was like the greatest third interview that you could have, they're going to hire me. I can feel it. I know this is going to happen. There's a gentleman who was a cheerleader for Michigan State University in like the 40s. He's an older gentleman. And he said, all we need you to do right now, Andrew, is sing the Michigan State fight song. And they all smile and laugh, and they're all just patting each other on the back. And I kind of laugh along, and I said, well, I actually don't know the Michigan State fight song. And then crickets. They all just get this straight face, and I think they're all just playing me a little bit. So I say, oh, well, I don't know it. And no one's laughing. Jack Bates, the man has since passed away, it's been many years, and he looks at me and goes, you'll learn it. And then the interview ended, just with that. And realized that was it. So the question of red or blue, that was a real question for them. And in my second year there, during my actual review, from the personnel committee, they said, you do not talk about Michigan State University enough in your sermons. That was again, not a joke. And I said, that's not in the Bible, is what I would But we were, the president of the university always attended our church. We were a 1,500 member church. You had a lot of, it was important. They said contextually, what happens on campus matters to this church, and you should know that. And so they were very clear. They did not want me to talk about U of M. So I tease, but I like both. UK's great, and Lexington's a great town. It is.
How many students do you have?
So we are a smaller school, so we're only about 120, which I know always surprises people. Our school has been there a very long time. We have an endowment, thanks to some folks who've been there supporting us for a number of years, of about 90 million. But student body of only about 120, which means our students have resources, but we are constantly looking for the new round of students. And so for anyone in this room, if you can think of somebody who wants to talk about it, come talk to me. We would love to see those new students come to us. Thanks.
This is a token of our appreciation. It's our 4-way test on the back, so you can always remember your meeting with us. Thank you very much. President-elect Barbara Sexton Smith, come on down.
Okay, all right. Well, fellow Rotarians and honored guests and Reverend Doc Pomerville. I mean, that was so much fun listening to you tell those stories. And I am convinced, President Ken, there's cardinals somewhere in the Bible, for God's sakes. I hope so. All right. And then, Rotarians, I love you all. I heard his speech. And Kiwanians, I just love y'all a little differently. Okay? All right, so here we go. I usually get about 2 minutes at the end of every meeting. Thank you, President Ken, to talk about what's next. What's next is, heads up, y'all, we will not be here on Thursday. All right, I want everybody to be home or wherever you go and be full of gratitude and share lots of memories. And then, George, it's our responsibility to make new memories. That's right. Okay, so then the next thing is, we are not here next Thursday either. I know, Princess Jenny, it's just, I don't know what to think, darling. We're not here next Thursday because Rotarians, next week on December 3rd, Wednesday, we're all going to be at the Hirschborn Country Club for our Rotary annual meeting and holiday party. Okay, so Reverend Doc Pomerville, I hope you're in town. You can come to the party. It'll be great food, dinner, dancing, entertainment, raffles, prizes, and Kiwanis, we do a contest. What time, she says? 5:30 to 9, Hirschborn Country Club, and we even have an annual costume contest. And trust me, it's hilarious. I mean, some people really go all out. I mean, I thought you were just supposed to wear something like a Stuart plaid, right? Or a kilt, but anyway, so, hey, Rotarians, if you have not RSVP'd yet for the annual meeting and the dinner at the Hirschborn Country Club, just know that you can still do that, but you've got to make your reservation by 10 o'clock this Friday morning because Delene and Tracy have got to get a head count in to the Hirschborn Country Club. Okay, 2 more things. Got 2 very important votes. Last week, you should, if you're an active member of Rotary, you should have received an email from me asking you to vote on the 2026-27 slate of officers and board of directors. All right? And here's all the beautiful, everybody go woohoo. Okay, all right, so thank you. Please vote. I think there were 94 votes were in yesterday when I checked it, so that's really good. Second thing, Rotarians, if you're active, you should have also received an email from Lori Flannery last week. Lori, please stand up. Everybody say hi, Lori. Hi, Lori. Okay, so as one of the best darn presidents this club has ever had, immediate past president and the Rotary Fund board chair, Lori sent an email asking you to read through an amendment to the Rotary Fund bylaws and vote on those. We also had a lot of votes in on that one as well. And then lastly, to vote is noon, December 3rd. Okay, that's cutting it awful close, President Ken. Okay, all right, we're gonna announce the results of all that at the dinner at 6:30. Now, next time that we are all together in this room will be, mark your calendars, for Thursday, December 11th. Rotary will ring the bell right here at noon, and our guest speaker is going to be Dr. John Foray, and his talk is titled, Celebrating Today's Seminal Ideas. It is 40 years of the Grawemeyer Awards. So if you haven't registered, you can do that, use the QR codes, and President Ken, that's all I've got. It's all yours, buddy, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Barbara. A reminder, the What is Rotary Club table is back there. I think Delene is going to handle that challenge today, telling you about Rotary. Awesome. Next year, of course, it'll be Kiwanis time to host it. I still remember, Jenny, how cool you were at the meeting. I'll never forget that meeting. So, the taunting was a little bit over the top. When we meet again on December 11th, we'll already be ahead, I'm confident, because while the advice was to pray right before you start to ask on December 6th is our first day, we're going to just start praying today, and by this time, yeah. Well, I hope you all have a great, blessed Thanksgiving, and we all find the time to show gratitude to all of our loved ones. Great talk today. Thank you. We are adjourned.